Neil Sunday, and we're here with Flycraft smallmouth bass fishing in late August on the beautiful Conneaut Creek here in the Cumberland Valley in central Pennsylvania. I'm out here today with my friends Jeff Cohen and Adam Day, and basically we've had 2 straight days of nice popper eats. The air temperature's been about 83 degrees and the water's about 80 degrees, so this is smallmouth bass. This is what we have in central PA this time of year, so we love it. We get out here and access areas that are absolutely hard to get to wading, so we can cruise around in the boat and get out and wade, stay in the boat and drift, whatever we want. It all works for us.
And the weeks and the weekends are keeping close who you spending with, and in time what you find is the time is who you spend it with.
I still remember when I was about 7 years old, I lived less than a mile from a spring creek in the area in the Cumberland Valley, and my grandmother took me and bought me a Shakespeare spinning rod. Literally from that day, a fishing rod has been within arm's reach or eyesight my entire life, man. It's been 7, 8 years old, learning to fish the spring creeks of the Cumberland Valley. One day I was out on my bass boat with 6 spinning rods set up, and I was like, what am I doing? I was headed to college. An awesome guy in my life gave me a fly rod and a box of flies, and said, teach yourself how to fly fish in college. Looking back, that was like 35 years ago, but that's where it started. I started as freshman, sophomore in college, picked up the fly rod, made a whole lot of mistakes because we didn't have YouTube back then or instructional videos, but learned the true old school way just by failure and experimentation again the next day. Always had fly fishing in the back of my mind. And parallel to that, I was also coaching snowboarding, which got pretty involved and pretty time consuming to the point where I was flying to Europe and staying in Austria for extended periods of time. A long time ago, I had some life changes just in my personal life, and I wrote out a map, and I'd already made snowboarding my profession. So I'd taken a love of snowboarding and turned it into a coaching role. Early on in life, I realized that I didn't want to make fly fishing anything professional until I set a goal of being 40 years old before I committed to professional guiding or whatnot. Right about that time when the TCO Fly Shop over in Boiling Springs took ownership, I walked in there with my wife and I one day, and I had been a regular customer of theirs, and they asked me to join the crew. On a handshake agreement, I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I started working in the shops. Pretty quickly, within a few months, I was given my first guide trip with Relentless Fly Fishing. 3 years after working in the shop and guiding, I became a full-time fly fishing guide. We're going on my 6th season as a full-time guide and my 9th season as a fishing guide. It's a job I wouldn't trade for much in the world, man. I haven't figured that out yet. So the most important thing I've learned as a fishing guide, my guests hire me to forget about their everyday, day in and day out routine or grind. And when I take a person out fishing, man, they really aren't concerned with how good the fishing was yesterday or last year. They're just happy to be in the moment and be present. I owe them my A game every day. And for me, it starts at 0 and I try to hit 100, 100 being a great day. Good times, they learn something, they become a little more independent in their own journey. Every guest of mine, every single day, deserves my A game. It's what you can do for that person today. Fishing with Jeff Cohen is is kind of like full circle, man. Jeff and I went to high school together when I entered the fly fishing world over at TCO Fly Shop and Relentless Fly Fishing. Jeff's wife worked there. Apparently she goes home. She's like, yeah, we hired this snowboarder guy named Neil Sunday. And Jeff's like, oh my God, I went to school with him. I hadn't seen Jeff for, 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden we're back fishing and hanging out. And he's a great fishing partner, man. He's an engineer by trade. Any of my technical problems, hey, Jeff, can you help me fix this trailer light? Or, man, he's there in a heartbeat. So I love to go fishing with Jeff anytime I can. Wow, Adam Day. Spent a lot of good time with Adam on the trout streams in the Cumberland Valley. He and his wife came up to fish with me a few years ago. And just over the years, we kept in touch. Adam has traveled to the West Branch of the Delaware and braved that fishery with me, fishing out of the boat. And just a great, great guy with a good outlook on fishing, and realizing that a good day of fishing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to slay fish all day, but just a good day of fishing is just a lot of laughs and leaving all your troubles back on the dock, A lot of people go out fishing and they might need to find what they're looking for, and I see that a lot. At the end of the day, fishing allows you to really forget about what's going on in your professional life or even in your personal life. Everybody's fighting something, and hopefully time spent on the water kind of washes all those stressors away. At least it does for me. Every important decision I've ever made in life has been on the water. Third date I ever took with my wife was to the Con of the Gwinnett Creek. That was our third date. Decisions are made on the water. I think they can last a lifetime. It's just you and your thoughts. If you take a deep breath, I think oftentimes those thoughts lead down a good positive road and allow you to be a better person out there in the real world. So I quote, clock in every day 9 to 5 and go fishing. Fishing is just a part of our lifestyle, and once it becomes part of your lifestyle, you can see that in others. And fishing has brought me a lot of great friends and trusted companions through life. So. Getting in touch with Flycraft and the guys at Flycraft really opened up a world of opportunity for me in angling. There used to be stretches of the Delaware River when I was just waiting that I would drive past these spots on the river, and I would just look at them and be like, I will never fish these. All of a sudden, a few years ago, I get a Flycraft, the 3-man guide boat, and I find myself floating these stretches of untouched waterways, untouched to me. That feeling is just, it's pins and needles the first time you float through water you've been staring at from your car for years. And Flycraft has opened that up. As a little kid, when we start fishing, we always try to cast as far as we can out into a waterway, because the fish are jumping just beyond casting reach. Man, now those fish are within reach, and that's why I love my Flycraft. The fish are in reach. Without my father introducing me to fishing, I would have never realized how important it was in my lifestyle. And my father used to row me around in a John boat, back when I was 10 and 12 years old. I still remember going to his buddy's house that, needed money for Christmas, so he was selling his John boat. My dad bought it from him, and, we sold it. And, on the handshake agreement that it wouldn't leak, and that's fine. And we went out, and my dad would row me all over the various lakes and waterways here in central Pennsylvania, making sure that I got to fish whenever I wanted. And now I get to return that favor. So it's kind of cool, man. I get to take my dad. I row the boat now, and I get to take my father out fishing whenever he's having his good days, and we have a great time. So it's all that rowing that he paid off early in life's helping him now when we go fishing. So thanks, Dad. And we named that John boat the Muskie Hunter. We never caught one, but the Flycraft again has just opened up all new sets of fishing waters, and with that comes life stories and some great days on the water.